Welcome to Life in Mid-Flight. Welcome to another episode. We're so glad that you're here with us today. I have with me my co-host. I have Nathan Patterson here.
What up, y'all? I'm all ashy and stuff. What up, though?
I have Stacey Richardson here on my left.
Everyone.
And today we're coming to you to talk about another episode in our series, Marital Assassins. Today we'll be going over communication styles. More so communication. Communication is a sneaky one. And communication in relationships is essential to having a healthy relationship.
Absolutely.
Do you agree?
I agree with that.
So let's get to it.
Okay.
So there are so many different communication styles inside of a relationship or a marriage.
I agree.
What are some that we can establish off the top that are healthy? Some healthy communication styles.
You know, I believe like Marvin Gaye and Kim Weston said in that old song, it takes two. It takes two people to communicate. You know, you don't want nobody standing there by yourself looking all stupid and stuff. But it takes two people to communicate. You know, when that person is feeding into you and you feeding into that person, and y'all coming to a common ground and say, you know what, this is what we got to do in order to make this relationship work. But I will always stick and say it takes two, not one.
And Stacey?
Agreed. I think communication is definitely a two-way street.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you need to be able to speak freely without judgment. And you need to be able to be heard. And you need to be able to offer that to your partner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very good points. Yeah. So what about someone who they communicate and they talk, but it's not healthy? So I'm just thinking about a couple. Krishan, have you ever seen Krishan?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay. Have you seen Krishan? Do you know who Krishan is?
I know who Krishan is.
So she's I believe she's a bad girl now.
Okay.
And she communicates, I forget her significant other at the time, his name, but they communicate, it's just not effective.
Okay.
And she's extremely physically aggressive to him, especially when she's intoxicated.
She put her hands on him?
Yeah, so they
Watch
don't
out
have
for
good
that.
communication. So a lot of people were, just going and warning him that he didn't need to be in that relationship. And I think they did eventually break it off.
Okay.
So that was definitely a negative version of communication that they had.
Right.
Yeah, their love language was not healthy. It was very toxic. I don't know what kind of love language they had.
Some people thrive off of that stuff, though.
Off of the toxicity?
Yeah, they thrive off it because, that's what makes the relationship work. It's like peanut butter, no jelly, no oil, no vinegar, you know what I'm saying? Cake, no icing.
And I think sometimes you have people that are taught that, I've heard this term before, if he doesn't hit me, he doesn't love me.
Oh, what's that?
And it's kind of so you need somebody to whoop you and beat you to the white meat to tell you that they love you?
Not I.
I don't want none of that. That's not, that's not it. Go
You
read
be
your word.
like Harpo or Color Purple, be like, oh no, was that old mule paw? Nah, it was Sophia that punched you in your face. Say, you ain't gonna put your hands on me. Nah, that hitting stuff. Nah, I don't agree with that crap.
No, not at all. I mean, that's sending mixed messages.
Absolutely.
Because if you love me, you're not trying to hurt me.
Yeah.
That sounds like a song. You should record that.
If
You don't love me, don't hate me.
I can't.
Well,
I might get a Grammy for that. Can I get an Oscar?
Right. I
I might be an ego. Give me an Emmy, a Grammy, and a Tony for that. Sorry, let me stop. Getting back to the topic. Communication, love language. What's your love language?
You know my love language. No, I'm just kidding. But so I feel like when you're in a relationship, everybody needs to have equal time to express themselves. And you need to not only be able to communicate, but you also need to be able to listen.
Yeah.
I think half of communication, a big part of communication, is listening.
Yeah.
So true.
We have to be really, really good listeners.
Yeah, it remind me of that sign that used to have hung up in your classroom. Silent and listen all have the same letters. You just mix it around. You got silent and you got listen. So you have to be silent sometimes in order for you to listen. I think is hear that person out, hear what they're saying, and hear what they're not saying is very important too.
Hear what they're not saying.
Hear what they're not saying is very
Absolutely.
important. I learned that a long time. You got to read between the lines what they're not saying.
And that can that could go directly into emotional fears that we talked about last week when couples are communicating, but something's not being said, there's a lack, right? And something's missing. So because something's missing and there's a lack, and this emotional affair can start. But what's your love language, Stacey?
Well, personally, I would say quality time.
Interesting.
That matters to me. I don't have to have gifts. I mean, I work every day. I can buy my own gifts.
Yeah.
But, and I understand that that love language isn't all about, whether or not I can afford to do it for myself.
Right.
But just for me personally, it's superficial. I just don't need it. Even though I do appreciate, the flowers. Thanks, babe. When you do give them, I appreciate them.
All right now,
But,
all right, brother. That's right.
But quality time speaks volumes to me, because you could be otherwise minded. You could be doing other things. But no, you put the video game down, you put your phone down, and you chose to spend time with me. Why? Because you prioritized me.
So I'll tell him to return the Mozzie that he was getting for your anniversary then. Okay.
No, we can spend time together in the Maserati.
No, I'm just kidding. What did you say? Is it Maserati? No. So, talking about
you asked me my love language.
I'm sorry. What is your love language, Nathan?
Well,
let's be fair.
So disrespected. Y'all see how she do me, y'all?
I wasn't listening.
I'm the quiet type, and you have to.
Quiet where?
No. Seriously, I'm the quiet type. I tend to think about what I'm thinking about, and that's dangerous.
Metacognition.
Yes, it's very dangerous, and that's why I thank God for you, not tooting because you're my wife and everything, but you have a way of coming into me and say, okay, yo, Nate, what's wrong? Let's talk about it. Let's get that out.
So you internalize a lot of stuff.
What?
You absolutely do internalize, but that's a lot of men. I feel like
I'm quiet about it, but it's dangerous because you start suppressing that stuff, and that stuff start sitting on you. Be like, okay, no, you need somebody to be like, yo, okay, what's up?
You don't want to be like a volcano and just
Nah, because you don't want to target the wrong people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I feel like with a lot of men, they tend to do that because of our society. Our society teaches us that men can't cry. Men can't, be emotional or vulnerable in any way or show any type of real emotion. I'm not saying go around with your hanky every time something happens, and just nobody's saying do that, but men do have moments of weakness. And I feel like it's okay if you have a moment.
Right.
If you continue to have moments, you might need to sit on somebody's couch. But, that's anybody. That's not just a man. That's anyone. Like, at some point in time, we have to take accountability for what we've done.
Of course.
To this society.
I agree with that.
Because I feel like we really have. You all right over there? No,
yeah, I'm good.
I feel
That's
like
my couch moment, y'all.
we've almost told our men that certain things aren't okay. So it forces them to internalize everything and to take everything onto their plates. And when they don't, they're weak for it. Or when they need somebody to talk to, they have to internalize it and deal with it on their own because you're a man.
Right, and it goes back to what we said earlier, that communication is a two. You don't have a partner by happenstance. You have a partner there for a reason. Like when you're strong, help me. And if I'm weak, you're strong. Or if you're strong and I'm weak, what I'm trying to say.
That's right.
Bone on my bone, flesh on my flesh.
That's right.
Right out my rib. Right?
Woman.
Yeah.
But love language is key. I like that quality time thing. Yeah.
Quality time is excellent. And you need quality time in a relationship, especially in marriage.
Right.
Especially in marriage. Like, never stop dating, never stop courting.
That's right, y'all.
That's the fun stuff to me.
That's why I got all them kids, y'all. That's why I got all them kids, y'all. Quality time. You know what I'm saying, brothers? Quality time.
Oh, my gosh.
Get a lot of kids.
Just so you know, the love languages were written in a book by Gary Chapman. He's the author.
That's my boy. Yeah.
Yes, and some of the languages that he listed in the book are acts of service, physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, and receiving gifts. Just in case anyone was unaware.
I like that.
But to me, like, I feel like receiving gifts, it depends on the gift. Because some men try to, I'm not going to say men, some people in relationships. Because it's not only men, some women try to buy their men too, to keep them, right? And I feel like, okay, are you buying me gifts because you love me, or are you buying me gifts because you're trying to keep me? Because that can be mistaken for a love language.
Right.
And almost looked at as like, okay, you know, every time we get into an argument, I'm just gonna go buy you something. I'm just gonna buy you something. I'm gonna buy you something.
And a lot of that's portrayed in movies and so forth.
Yeah.
A lot of that's like, okay, you know, I did such a hit. Let me give you a gift to make up for what I did instead of dealing with the problem.
Right. Well, you know,
so here's my love language. Let me move that your way, baby.
Thank you.
You're welcome, darling.
That actually, I'm gonna go back in the day. Back in the day, that happened to me, and it was funny because he messed up, bought me a fur coat, beautiful white fox.
You took it?
Yeah, I took it. It was my boyfriend at the time. Like, I took it. I was like, yeah. So I was a beautiful white fur. I remember I wore it to the fashion show. Your husband was in the fashion show. And was he your husband? Were you guys dating? I don't remember.
I'm probably dating at the time.
Yeah, but we went, this is how long ago it was. It was like almost 20 years ago. Good Lord. So we went, and I wore that, and he bought me this beautiful ring. It was like a promise ring. Should have known right there because it was a promise. It was a promise.
Was it cubic zirconium?
It probably was cubic zirconium, but I was too young to realize it. But like black on or something like that. But I was like, okay, I thought that was it, you know? I'm like, okay. And the minute he got upset, he wanted everything back.
Wow.
And I gave it back. I gave it back. You know, I was just like, oh, well, I'm fine. I'll buy my own fur.
Yeah.
Never bought one since then.
Wow.
But
it's okay.
No, that's because I just don't. Once I realized how they made furs, I was like, no, we're not going to kill little foxes. And it was a white fox, too. So it was the little white foxes that are in the Arctic. I was like, I can't get another one of this. You're going to skim these little foxes. Like, you know chinchillas, how tiny they are?
Yes.
You know how many chinchillas it takes to make one coat? It's like 20.
Several.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I get mad at guy from Love and Hip Hop Safari every time I see him wearing some chinchilla. Just makes me upset all over again.
That's his love language. He like that. Straight. As he said. Nah.
But you know what? I think it's you have to be careful when trying to understand your mate's love language because oftentimes I find in the beginning, or if we're just not well versed in how this works, that we speak our love language. You know, so when you were talking about receiving gifts, I started thinking about how sometimes people will do that because that's their love language.
Absolutely.
They like to receive gifts, and so they give gifts, you know, because
like,
again,
don't you like
that's
this
the language they speak.
Yeah.
Right. But I think you really have to put in the time.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, with your mate to find out, you know, what their likes, dislikes, you know, what makes them tick, and just really work on discovering those things about each other.
Ooh, that right there, what makes them tick. Yeah. Sometimes you can use those things against the person and start making them tick.
Because you know those spots, and you know what makes them tick. You know how to push those buttons.
You gotta fight fair. You gotta fight fair.
That's true. That's true. So communication over time. I think communication definitely changes.
Definitely.
The longer you're in a relationship, you know.
Yes.
I can remember back our first year of marriage.
Ooh, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was a piece of work, y'all. I was a piece of work. I ain't gonna lie, I was a piece of work.
But no, just like the communication style, like Stacey was just talking about, like it just wasn't weird as now. Like I can look at you halfway across the room, and you know what I'm thinking, I know what you're thinking, and we've communicated already without even opening our mouths.
I told y'all that's why we got all them kids, y'all.
Okay.
I'm just saying, we communicate.
But you know how to. You know how to communicate. It gets better to me through time, as long as you actually talk about it. You know, and I think you can attest to that also. Like the more you're with somebody, like you said, that quality time, spending that quality time with someone, you'll see the growth in your relationship.
It matters. It makes a difference. Like when I was thinking about the different communication styles, some of which are passive aggressive, and assertive, you know, and maybe try and find, you know, well, which one am I leaning more towards? Because I think at times it can kind of change.
What about dominant?
But
not you, but I'm just saying, will that fit in there too?
Yeah, absolutely. That, you know, is like being assertive, you know, that kind of style. But I have learned, I think early on, I was a little more passive aggressive.
Oh God, yes, me. I need deliverance.
Yeah.
Yes, Lord.
I definitely think
Deliver
that I
me, Lord.
was. Like, I just think about some of the silly arguments that I
Yeah.
had, you know.
And you're
I
like,
said,
what was I arguing about?
You know, like, that was so avoidable if I just had found my big girl words and sat down and, you know, just discussed it instead of internalizing and letting resentment just kind of build up until I blew up.
Yeah.
So I've learned to quickly attack things, say what I mean what I say, give things a moment to kind of process, roll through my mind, gain understanding
Yeah.
of what's being said, what's being asked of me. And then if I'm unsure, you know, ask for clarification. And then, you know, give an informed, you know, response.
I
Not
like
just a
that.
response off your cuff because you're
Please.
angry and I know how to get you. Yeah, that was me first year of marriage. Like at first I was like submissive, then I was like, no, you said that. So here it comes. Kamehameha! You know, like that's how I was. But I'm just like, I had to learn that wasn't right.
Right,
So,
right.
like you said, those languages, just learning, you know, what makes a person tick, what doesn't, and how to treat them.
That's
You
right.
know, and just staying also in line with the Word of God, because I think that if this is your this is your spouse, this is your significant other, this is who God has gifted you with.
Yes.
You become one. You don't want to hurt them. You're hurting
That's right.
yourself.
You're hurting yourself, definitely.
What do you gain from that?
I agree with that.
Agreed.
You know?
I like what you said, Stacey. Let's dig a little deep on it. You say, you know, we have to learn how to attack that. When you mean attack that, what are you saying? Like, do we just let it linger, or do we just like deal with it right then and there, or do we take some time to, you know, ponder upon what we're going to say prior to dealing with that situation?
Oh my gosh. I think thinking about what we're going to say before we say it is something that everyone can benefit from.
I agree.
Just speaking before having all of the information, or before you've had a chance to fully process and deal with it, know how you feel about it, can be dangerous. So I think, okay, let's pull up a scenario. Let's say, you know, your mate says something that was hurtful to you. Well, I have learned over time, years of marriage, that just to ask a few questions, like, babe, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, God.
And so, you know, they'll repeat it. And so, okay, if it's still not quite sitting right with me, then ask, you know, a clarifying question. Well, what did you mean exactly when you said X, Y, Z? Or, I'm sorry, like, when I said that or when I did that, how did you feel about it? Or, you know,
Absolutely.
did I offend you when I did that?
Yeah.
You know, just asking those kinds of questions really open up the heart and the mind of the person that you're talking to.
So
Because-
basically, you don't walk on eggshells.
I try not to,
Okay.
you know, because we're grown folk.
Right.
Okay?
I know that's right.
You
Right.
know, so if I have a question, if I'm not sure about something, I'm going to ask about it. I'm going to confront you with it, but do it lovingly, do it respectfully.
Yes.
You know, because this
Yes.
doesn't just apply to marital relationships.
That's
this
right.
applies to even work, you know, situations.
Oh, tell me about it.
Dealing
Yes.
with, you know, your boss, your colleagues,
Oh, Lord.
whoever it is.
Even friendships.
Friendships. I was thinking also about parent and, you know, child relationships.
Especially as they change.
Oh, yeah.
And the roles
Oh, yeah.
change and the parents get older. You know? Because I think that sometimes, like, children tend to get impatient with their parents when they get older.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, I always think about, you know, how much patience did you have with me? I remember Mom used to tell me, which is something that you just said. She said, think twice, speak once.
That's right.
She said,
I
think
like
twice, speak once. And as a child, I used to be like, right? Because I was just kind of like, oh, I thought about it, but I think about it again. But
Right.
as I got older, I understood more. Like, you really have to think about the words that come out your mouth before they come out your mouth.
That's right.
Because sometimes you can't take them back.
Boy, just
Right.
imagine if our thoughts was on just a big old screen,
Big
and
screen.
everybody be like, okay, oh, that's what you was really thinking about?
Oh, God.
Oh, that's what you was really
I don't
thinking
want them
about?
to see my
I'm like,
thoughts.
yo,
Lord Jesus.
nope, not I.
I know that's something we have to learn how to tame.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because in the Bible it speaks about thinking it is just like doing it. Mm-hmm. So I try not to even think certain things. It's like, nope, just going another direction. Not doing it.
But that's maturity. That's growth, and it comes with time and practice.
Definitely, definitely.
And prayer. And prayer.
Lots of prayer. Stay on your knees, y'all. Stay on your knees.
That's
Better lay
right.
flat on the floor and say, God, give me a word.
Jesus.
Help me. Help me.
So another form of communication that a lot of people get kind of twisted up and confused with is texting. Now, how many of us have had a text message that has come out looking crazy? Or you read it and it's like, I know she did. Did read this?
And she put it in caps.
And it's all caps. She crazy. Oh, like how many people have had those text messages, or you've read a text message a certain way, the way you read it. Then again, we're talking about love language, right? And then you're thinking it means one thing, but the person really meant something totally different. How many text messages have gotten confused like that and have caused so many ways of miscommunication?
Right. I know I have received and probably even sent some confusing text messages. And because I try not to just, jump on the other person, there have been times where I say, okay, well, I'm just going to leave that alone. I'm not quite sure what she meant by that, but I'm just going to leave it alone. So because I left it alone, I didn't hurt anyone, by doing that. But at the same time, maybe I hurt myself because now I'm in my feelings about it. And I didn't address it, so she doesn't even know.
You're feeling that way.
Exactly.
Feeling some type of way about the text message.
I could have potentially have ended, a friendship because of that, or just walked away, or put some distance there where it didn't need to be because there was a misunderstanding that I didn't confront. It seems small, but trust me, I think everyone could probably think of, at least one or two texts that they had to question. Well, what do they mean by that?
Exactly.
Kind of set you on edge.
Yeah.
So, Nate, can you think of any texts like that?
No, I was like, I would think of like a real life situation that felt like a text.
Oh, okay.
And I found myself in a couple of those pickles this year and last year, and I just sat there. I was like, oh, God, let me say something. Please let me say something. Let me do something. I said, because this person is coming at me all wrong, and I had to just bite my tongue down because, I said, I still got a little Jersey City in me, because,
Lord help him, Jesus.
You want this West Indian side, Indian side of you to rise up. But, I would, like, when the situation feels kind of texty, I was like, what do I do? What do I say? How do I act? Do I come up to where they are? Do I do this? Do I do the same thing that they're doing? And I did,
So that's why we pray, right? We have to pray because we know that we're going to get attacked on every end, right? And it talks about how, because we're Christians, we'll be persecuted. So I think that, by sometimes taming the tongue and holding that tongue, it would be beneficial for us.
Have I written texts out there? One of them get back texts, I'm like, yes, I did. And I almost pressed send, and I was like, you know what? No, I ain't even going to do that. Let me erase that.
That's like me on QR. So I had to erase my QR account, y'all. I had to erase it. I had to erase it because it was getting me. I'd be fine. And you write like a QR response, and then people respond to you months later about something that you wrote originally. And half the time we don't know all the facts behind the question, or it's a troll putting a question out there.
Right.
And I had to erase it because I'm just like, this is not the person that I want to be. This is not the fingerprint I want to leave online. I wasn't cursing or anything or doing anything that was out of character or anything like that. But it was just a constant need to defend myself that I was just over it. I said, I'm answering a question that someone asked. And people want to respond and reply to your answer and based on their opinions. And it's like, oh, what's the point of answering a question you asked if you're going to be responding to it saying, my opinion is wrong? And this is for opinions.
Exactly.
But that right there, that constant need of people trying to defend defend themselves.
Yeah, I was over it.
You know, it's
I
just
erased it.
crazy.
I was like, this is ridiculous. This is why I just got social media last year.
You know,
because
it's
I
like, yo,
refused.
just watch my life, man. I ain't defending me no more. You know what I'm saying? He got that. He had that.
That's right.
You know, he's the manufacturer.
But Taming the Tongue is actually a book by Jeff Robinson. Nate, I know that you read that book.
The whole entire book, and I did the workbook.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You get brownie points.
But it takes a look at the different type of tongues that you have. You know, they have the judgmental tongue. You know, the untamed tongue, the lying tongue, the slurring tongue.
The lying wonder.
And that thing he said you got to watch that pink member that hide behind them pearly gates because it'll get you in a lot of trouble. It will get you. You got to watch the fire you spit, man, for real, for real. Because once you put it out there, you can't get it back.
Yes.
So judgmental tongue. Speak more to us about that. The judgmental tongue, would that be someone like...
That's the pointing finger that don't look at the fingers that's pointed back at you.
Oh, okay.
You point at one, you got four pointing at you. Be like, no, look at yourself.
Throwing rocks from a glass house.
Of course. And hiding your hands. Yeah.
Oh, judgmental.
Yeah. Downcasting because you're downcast. Or being a bully because you're a bully. Or you didn't deal with those issues in your life.
So you come into the relationship with baggage.
Of course.
And then you put that baggage on your spouse or your significant other because that's what you have.
And you don't fight fair.
Fighting fair. Oh my gosh.
You don't fight fair.
It's so important to fight fair in a relationship. And I feel like enough people don't do this. People go right under the belt. They go for the jugular. They don't care.
Right.
They're just like,
and that's why they pay the fair. F-A-R-E. When you don't fight fair, you pay a fair. There's always the consequences, whether good or bad.
Yeah.
You don't fight fair. You got a price to pay. I love my bed, so yeah.
No brown couch for you.
No brown couch. No brown couch.
No brown couch. Okay. No, you won't have a brown couch though. But
So like, what to you is playing fair? Like, just describe that.
Okay, let's mention that's fine, a fighting fair thing. So let's say there's a disagreement, because I don't even call it arguments in my house.
Right.
Because I don't yell, I don't scream.
Not at all.
You don't throw stuff?
No, God, no. I'm not throwing my own stuff. I bought it. Why would I throw it?
Oh, you look like you was happy about that. You don't throw stuff.
I was asking for a friend.
Oh, my bad. Like and share, y'all.
But no, I just feel like it's having a conversation respectfully.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and then there are times where you might be ready to talk, but your spouse might not be ready to talk. My thing is, like, as long as we talk today and get it over with, I really don't care. But let's not let this go on past today. Let's not go to bed and this still be there.
And that's how it was. I have to put it out there. When we was first married, our first year of marriage, I was
Jesus.
so
I stay on my knees.
petty. I was so passive. I was so passive aggressive. I would hold things, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna use this. When you come at me with this, I'll say this and I'll do that. And I was like, yeah, it ain't get me nowhere.
I was just remembering.
Ain't get me nowhere.
I'm just remembering that. No, I'm just like, we're just remembering like those times. It's just so funny because like that's when we were learning how to communicate and learning our love language. So it's just like looking back on it all now, it's just crazy because, you know, I'm pretty sure that first year of marriage, like I don't do that now and I haven't done it since then, but I'm pretty sure that we had like arguments, you know, getting to learn each other. I'm pretty sure that stuff did exist. Where we might have even raised our tones, but I don't do that. And I also think that it's important to not always scurry off and have a discussion, especially when you have kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like how are they supposed to learn how to communicate?
That's right.
If you don't give them that example. I'm not saying like if you're having a personal, really, really private discussion or having it in front of your children. Right. But I do think if it's something and they can see mom and dad are not necessarily having an agreement right now.
Right.
They don't agree, but they're not arguing.
Right.
They're just saying, I don't agree. Well, let's talk about it. And they're sitting there and they're talking and having a conversation and they see you work it out. Then they'll know when they go into a relationship how to talk and have a conversation and work it out.
Is there a difference between an apology and saying you're sorry?
I don't say I'm sorry. I'm not a sorry person.
Okay.
I apologize for things that I do wrong. And I apologize whenever I'm wrong. I apologize to my kids.
Definitely.
I apologize to you.
Yes.
I apologize to the cat the other day. You know, you got to apologize to the cats because, you know, you need to apologize to Litton, though. You didn't apologize to Litton. You yelled at her the other day.
She got 9 lives.
Litton's the cat.
She has 9 lives, and she eats it too. So
She don't have we have to apologize, though. I think it's important. We think apologizing is important.
I agree. I do. Because I know how it feels to be offended, but then to have someone to truly, genuinely apologize and, just kind of want to make up for it.
right.
It means something to me.
Yeah.
So, I can forgive without the apology.
Absolutely.
But it is nice to know that if you genuinely feel that way, that you're willing to put your words where your mouth is.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the power of apology, I think it goes really, really far. I think that it will take a relationship a lot further as well.
Mm-hmm.
For since I'm probably like ages old this time, right? If people have done things that have been wrong, and
Yes.
I feel like when people don't apologize, it rubs me the wrong way. Like I can forgive you, but it means so much when you apologize to me.
Because it costs you nothing.
That's
What does
right.
it cost you to say, I apologize or I'm sorry, XYZ?
But could
So,
you imagine
let
being in
me-
a marriage and somebody didn't?
Yeah. People have honestly broken up over that. They have. And it's like, all he had to say was, I'm sorry. But I didn't want to have to tell him that. I wanted him to just feel it and to do it on his own.
But he can't be a mind reader either.
Was that demonstrated in that person's life? Did that person see
Good question.
that before him or her? Did they ever witness somebody saying I'm sorry or showing them how to resolve a conflict?
All good questions.
I don't know,
So-
because I think like old school parents go and they scurry off in a room and they deal with whatever they're dealing with.
Right.
They don't come out and say, oh, guys, we have a disagreement.
Because what happens in this house stays in this house.
What happens in this
Right.
house stays in this house. You better not tell nobody. No, but you leave it in the house. You don't, it's the business of the house. But you weren't going to see them having big heated discussions. The most you might hear, I'll talk to you about this later. You're not going to see that. And it's respectable, I think, to not have, anything heated in front of your kids. But I also think, like, going back to that point, we are our children's first teachers, right?
Yes.
And we have to demonstrate that because they're not going to be children forever.
Right.
They become adults. And that's why we have so many messed up adults.
Right.
Because they haven't learned how to really deal with things, or they come into relationships with all this baggage and they don't know how to communicate effectively.
Right.
Or their communication style is, like I said, you love me, you hit me, or, all these different things that are just toxic.
Right.
That's true.
And then if you get married and you bring that into a marriage and you bring kids into that and
Right.
you bring, it's just a recipe for trouble.
I like when you say, I'll talk to you about that later, and it's good to table some things, but don't table it too long. Don't table it into the next day.
Don't put it under the rug. Just
Yeah.
put it on the table.
Because those things that you put under the rug just keep heaping and you don't want to deal with that big pile right there.
Yeah, well, sometimes I feel like people just need a minute. They need a minute.
Right.
Like, you might be ready to talk, they're not ready to talk.
Right.
So give them a minute. And I feel like
And
especially...
because you're ready, do I have to be ready?
No.
Right. And I learned that in the beginning. She was like, I'm not ready to do that right now. And I was just like egging. No, I want to talk to you right now. I want to deal with this right now. But, I had to learn respect. Thank you. Thank God for deliverance.
Deliverance. Okay,
It's
but
available.
that's definitely that's definitely what I was thinking about when I was laughing earlier. Because I feel like a lot of females do that. A lot of females nag, and when they tend to do that, oh goodness, you
I'm
okay
gonna
over
put this
there?
away,
Are you
yeah.
all right?
Yeah, let me
You
put
okay?
that right there.
Okay.
Let me put that right there.
when they nag and stuff, it tends to just like be annoying, because I know like very, very beginning of my marriage, I think I was a little naggy, and I thought I was a little naggy, so I was just like, you know what?
Remember, naggy rhymes with Aggie.
It does.
Naggy and Aggie.
Naggy and Aggie. Yeah, but I had to like check myself. And I was just like, check yourself, and I just had to get it together because I was like, that's not good. That's not good.
You're not
to
his
nag
mother.
anymore.
You're
I'm
his
not
wife.
his mother. I'm his wife. And I had to just check myself and put myself in place and know my position and play it.
There you go. There you go.
Interesting.
Know my position and play it. You
But
know.
and that's where you see growth, and that's where you see maturity, when you can say, you know what, no, I was the bad guy, or I was the bad girl in this situation, you know, honey or baby, you know, I apologize, or I'm sorry for the way I came, and so forth, and mean it.
Mean it.
Don't just say it just to be saying,
And then do the same thing.
and then you turn around and you're doing the same thing over and over. Nah, it don't work like that. That's not wholehearted.
Don't have a heart like David.
Nah.
After the apple of God's eye.
Of course.
Right? You know? Yeah. I love that. I love that. Yeah.
So that makes me think about how important it is to respect people's space, respect their communication style, to be able to give them the time that they need
Right.
to really process what they're dealing with. You know, when you're having this heated debate about something, just calm down, and revisit it, like you guys were saying. Revisit it once.
I agree with that.
Cooler heads, you know, prevail.
Yeah, and sometimes that space is like just what you need to be able to come back and communicate effectively. And I just feel like when people don't, sometimes that's when the tide rises too high.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
What are you hearing? If you're screaming at me, I'm screaming at you. You know, we're just hurting each other with our words. We may not be laying a finger on each other, but you
sometimes
know,
words cut deeper.
oh yeah, they carry just as much weight.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, what is this? Some competition thing to say? Okay, who can out argue this person the best? Nah, it's not about that, man.
Right.
So I'll tell a little story.
Story time.
Story time. So I remember we had one disagreement. Communication was effective in this, but I don't remember exactly what. It was so dumb. I don't remember what the disagreement was about. It was like early marriage, but whatever you said to me, it irritated me enough for me to respond in this way. And I remember I responded to Nate, and I said, "Yes, massa."
Oh God.
And that's what he did. He was like, "Are you
looked at him
serious?" I was like, "Yes, massa." And he was just like, how immature is that? Like, first of all, that was so immature. But like, I remember like later that night, like just like, "I'm sorry, like that was disrespectful to like all my ancestors, and it was disrespectful to you."
And then there was 5
And
kids,
I'm just
y'all.
so
Five. Yeah.
Safe to say y'all made up.
Yeah. But just knowing like those buttons, and I knew what to
Yes.
push.
Oh yeah.
I knew what to push. So for me to respond like that, it was just disrespectful. It was just disrespectful on so many levels. And I remember just going and apologizing to him, and he was just like, "You know, I forgive you."
That's why we gotta get rid of those aces in the hole. You can't use somebody else's past in order to win a fight. You know, don't dig that. Don't do that. Just don't do that.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
it's
true.
Not, it's not
We
cool.
should be trying to cover each other.
That's the key.
You know,
That's it.
Yeah.
because
That's it.
sometimes those aces in the hole, as you put it, they're open wounds.
Yes.
You know, and
Ooh, I like that.
instead of trying to cover and bandage and protect our mate, we use it against them.
Pouring
We
salt in it.
weaponize, you know, those
Making it sting. You know what I'm
bandage,
saying?
those wounds. Or sometimes it's a shortcoming. It could be something that they may be not comfortable with, and we take it and again we weaponize it. You know, so that can be dangerous. But again, if we
The weapons
love
in our
them-
artillery, huh?
right. But if we remember to love, you know, our mates the way we love ourselves,
Yes.
you know, then we only want the best for them.
Right, because you're not gonna hurt yourself.
No, you shouldn't.
Hopefully not.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, you shouldn't. The two become one flesh.
Yeah.
Especially, like you should want the best for your spouse.
Right.
You should.
Agreed.
Because he or she wants the best for you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
At least
absolutely.
they should. want the
Yeah, I
best
think
for you.
that all relationships kind of start off like that. And then I think that communication, you know, we talked about finances, emotional affair. These are just things that go into it. So every relationship, well, no, not emotional affairs, but, you know, that's a trap or, you know, an entryway or a gateway for something that could happen if you don't have effective communication.
Right.
You know,
right.
and I just think communication is so important in relationships. And if you don't have effective communication, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
I'll concur.
It doesn't matter how much I love him, girl, I love him. You know, sometimes you could love him all you want to, but sometimes you just got to let him go. You got to let him go, love him enough to let him go. If it's not good for you, if she's not good for you, if he's not good for you.
Why do you think it's so hard for people to do that whole concept of love him or her enough to let them go? Why?
Ties. 2 words. Soul ties. 2 becoming one flesh when they shouldn't have even become one flesh.
Unequally yoked.
Being unequally yoked.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be in marriage. It can be in relationships. And, you know, unequally yoked friends, unequally yoked mindsets, you know. But
there's a term, you are what you eat, right? So you are who you hang around. So you ever been around somebody and maybe they talked a certain way and you kind of picked up how they talked?
Yeah.
You know, you've been around somebody and they have an accent and then you have an accent, a little bit, you pick up the words the certain way they say it. That's the same way with a lot of the things they'll do as well. Yeah. So you are your friends. You are your company that you entertain.
Well, what did the old folks used to say? Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Yeah.
That's true. I'm glad
Birds
I have
of
good
a
friends.
feather.
So that means I can't hang around with Medea. Tell me I can't.
You better not. Don't you come to my house with no gray wig and some fake boobs. We gonna have a problem.
On the couch I go.
On the couch, no. We going to therapy. You come in there with a Medea wig.
On the couch.
He's sitting on somebody's couch.
Yes.
Well, that's something else with communication. So a lot of couples don't believe in premarital counseling. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's of the essence, because you get to know that person inside and out, and you'll see, okay, maybe should we go for it, or should we just like step back? And there's nothing wrong with saying, you know, I need to step back from this. I'm not saying that we're not going to say I do, but maybe we just need to step back and reevaluate this commitment, because marriage is a long-term commitment.
Lifelong.
You know, to death do us part.
I think that premarital counseling really allows you to evaluate the relationship. It allows you to see certain aspects of the relationship, or learn different traits, characteristics, just details about your mate that you didn't know before.
Yeah. And
delve deeper into that. Right. And for some people, it has made them decide, you know, well, this isn't for us. You know, we're just not each other's person. Yeah. We're not who we thought the other was. And that's okay, because you saved yourself a lifetime of hurt.
Right, because I remember we was hit with that question, what don't you like about her? I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I thought it was going to be all peaches and roses. He was like, okay, so now that you have had this conversation, you tell me everything you like about each other, what don't you like? I was like...
That took a dark turn.
Church finger, please.
Put it up.
Church finger. Right. I was like, we really have to answer this? Like, really?
But that's interesting. I think that was important to confront even before you exchanged ideas.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know, start the work on yourselves and, you know, each other.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not to attack the other, but it's to help you grow closer to God, grow closer to each other. You know?
Yeah, I still remember what he said too.
Oh, okay.
I don't care. I'm gonna say that was like 15 years ago.
You said, I don't like that she pouts when she can't get her way. And I said, I don't pout.
She says with a pout.
What are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, you pout when you don't get your way. And I'm like, because I should just get my way. You know?
Well, didn't that uncover something deeper?
Yeah, but definitely, and you know, that stuff, and I just found out I can't get my way with everything. You're not going to get your way with everything. Although, you know, my siblings say I'm spoiled just a little bit. But, you know, you don't, and you can't pout about it when you don't. Right. So I had to get through that. But, you know, I was a baby girl, so maybe that was my position. I am the baby girl.
Okay.
I was the baby for a few
years. She's revealing the science behind it, you know, the psychology, the whole birth order.
Yeah.
But Lord, she's
before the boy was born.
She don't pout no more. She don't pout. Thank you, Lord.
Nah, I don't pout anymore.
Nah.
That's growth.
Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah, I had to stop that, like, instantly. That I was like, oh, wow, I do that, don't I? Because sometimes I think you don't realize you do certain things either, right? and you're just like, oh, okay, peaches and gravy sauce with a soda on the side. I'm good. You know, those of you who don't know peaches and gravy sauce, as you might hear me say that a lot, it's peach cobbler. And you know, peach cobbler has that gravy off the side. Peaches and gravy sauce, delicious. Sorry, went a little off topic, but I had to stop it right away.
Right.
But my thing is, can you take what they're saying about you and say, you know what? No, that's true.
I would rather take it from my spouse than someone from the outside. That's just like, you know, if your mom tells you, you know, comb your hair and brush your teeth, you know, you're like, you know, brush your teeth, you know, like it's not something like that. And I'd rather my mom tell me that than me go somewhere and they're like, woo, halitosis. You know, like you would rather someone who you love tell you something
like
that
you
hurts.
Went to fresh for the top and the bottom.
But you'd rather somebody that you love tell you
That's
something
right.
like that than somebody that you don't love or don't know.
Right.
Sure.
You know, that just be embarrassing.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Can you take it? Can you take it?
Yeah, like
take it.
I went to
take it.
premarital counseling, and I thought that it was beneficial. You know, I thought it was going to be a breeze, a walk in the park. I didn't think that it was going to give me the moment of introspection that it did, and I liked that.
Yeah.
So it gave us a lot of food for thought.
Close to 20 years
I
now,
appreciate
right?
That. Absolutely.
All right now.
Getting closer,
Yep,
getting
yep.
closer. We've been together for 20 years. But in marriage, 18 this year.
Wow. That's a blessing.
Congratulations.
Yes,
That's a
thank
blessing.
you. Thank you. A lot of hard work,
Yes, Lord.
I mean, I was there.
a lot of prayer.
Yes, Lord.
That's when I was like a whole size 4. Many, many, many years ago, y'all. But
I didn't know where she was going with it. She was like, when I was like, I'm like, okay, so she's thinking about how old. No, she's thinking about what size clothing
Yeah.
she used to wear. Okay, okay.
I was like a size 4. I was sticking bones.
Too much.
Not queen size like somebody told our viewers a few weeks ago. But
You and your
we're
stockings.
good.
You and your stockings. I can't help that you was ashy. I can't help.
But now let me just mention this, since we're talking about communication and the way that we talk to one another. I went on this retreat one time, story time,
Story time. We love stories.
when it was a women's retreat with a church group, and the presenter put us on a tongue fast.
Ooh.
You ever heard of that? I don't know. Anyone?
A tongue fast.
Yeah. It was a tongue fast.
I'm like, I just have to sew my mouth shut.
So what we did is we really delved into the Bible, found scriptures that dealt with tongue and communicating and what it should be, and also what it shouldn't be.
Interesting.
And we just, took a break from all the toxic stuff. You know, those judgmental things that you mentioned earlier, that judgmental tongue, or a lying tongue, a cussing tongue. We took all of those things that are foes to good communication.
Listen, I've had to pray that
and
one
we
many
really, we really fasted and prayed about it. And I found it to be so beneficial. It's transformative. So it's really, really worth it. It's something you can do on your own even. You don't even have to tell anyone else, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm a tongue fast girl. You don't have to share it.
I don't think you should share when you're in a fast, though.
It's private. It's between you and God. It's
Yeah,
up to
like
you.
if you're gonna do it with like a friend or something, or your spouse, I think that's one thing. But I think too many people share too many things, and like they have to put it on social media and they have to tell the world about it. Girl, I just got off a 7-day fast, and it's like, okay, like Jesus knows. I don't need to know.
Right.
You told Jesus? You good then? Why are you telling me?
Remember, they only post the good stuff. They don't post that you going through and you wailing on the floor, you wilding like, okay, God help me, I need help. They don't post
You don't
that
post
stuff.
the process.
Ooh, I like that.
I like
Ooh,
that.
That can preach.
We
right
gonna put that
there.
on a shirt.
I'm gonna preach that.
Merch.
Can't post the process.
Can't post the process.
Yeah.
I like that. But it's true.
But yeah.
It's true. And a lot of people don't and won't and don't ask them to. They
Right.
won't. The forms of communication that they didn't have at one point in time versus what they have now, and
Right.
how they've grown and
Yes.
what they had to go through to get there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because it really
process.
is a
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, it is,
It doesn't
definitely.
just happen overnight. You
Nah,
don't just
not
learn
at
about
all.
someone
Not at
overnight.
all.
You don't just have instant communication. You might have, a really, really good relationship with someone, but it's not instant.
Right.
It takes time. What's that song? Love Takes Time. That's Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Love takes time. Yeah, that's Mariah Carey. It does though. Love takes time, and it takes time to learn those languages. So I think that you just made such valid points, and just like explaining that with the tongue fast. I think we all need a tongue fast.
Yeah.
Tongue fast, tongue clean, holy water on the tongue. I don't know. We all need something with it because
It's
you know.
something.
I was thinking about Medea, and when Medea was not episode, but which movie that was hers, where she was talking about she felt the cussing demon coming on. And I was on the
movies,
floor.
every last one of them.
I was on the floor. She was like, I was like, oh my gosh. She felt the cussing demon.
It's a struggle.
I was like,
Nah, sometimes you gotta hold that tongue, man. Like I say, you don't want nothing. You don't want to spit no fire. You don't want to spit no fire.
That's what it is.
That's why communication, y'all, is of the essence. It's of great importance. It's of great importance. I really like this today. I really like that.
Yeah, we had a blast. So next week we'll be having Dr. Jen in the house.
Right now, we going on the couch, y'all. We going on the couch.
We're gonna be on the couch with Dr. Jen, and we'll be having some more conversations about these marital assassins, as we know. Yes. So we also wanted to recommend a good video for you guys to watch on Instagram. Mm-hmm. But before you even do that, you can follow us and you can like and subscribe to us at Life in Mid-Flight.
Like and share.
Life in Mid-Flight. I said fight. Sorry. Life in Mid-Flight. We're on YouTube at Life in Mid-Flight. We're also on Instagram at Life in Mid-Flight. We have here on Facebook Stacey Richardson, JesCIa Patterson, and Nathan Patterson.
What up, y'all?
And we would like to share a video with you. This video is from a Instagram. This video is from Instagram, and it's from Russell the Fourth. And I just love this video because I'll just let you watch it. But he definitely has a word in him that just needs to be shared with the world. So Russell the Fourth, thank you so much for letting us at Mid-Flight just share this with our viewers.
Thanks, Russ.
And just thank you. It moved me. It really did. So guys, until next week, we'll see you. Thanks for taking the time to unwind with us in Life in Mid-Flight. Take care.
All right, y'all. See ya.
Let me tell you something. I learned a fact the other day that blew my mind. Do you know how most whales die? They drown. They spend their entire life living in and swimming in a world that eventually kills them. You know why that is? Whales are mammals. Most mammals walk on the face of the earth, but the whales live in a world that they are not of. They are in the water, but they are not of the water. So while other fish can swim around for their entire life with gills breathing in the water, the whale has to come up out of the water to live. There's a life source that is not in the world that he lives in, that he needs access to. This is gonna go over some of your heads, but I'm gonna just say it and be obedient to what God is telling me to say. You are in this world, but you are not of this world. And I'm saying this because there's a lot of y'all who are like, yo, Russ, I'm working on my mental health. I'm working on my physical. I'm getting more rest. I'm eating right. I'm working out, but I still don't have peace. It became apparent to me that we are unaware of our needs. We know if we're hungry, we know we need to eat. We know if we're thirsty, we need to drink. If we're tired, we know we need rest. If we're stressed out, we know we need to work on our mental health, but you are completely unaware of how to tend to your spiritual needs. You are not just a mind. You are not just a body. You are a spirit wrapped up in the flesh of a man and a woman. And in this life, you need God. There's no other way around it. You need God. You need to pray. You need to worship. You need to seek his face. You need to read your word. Because in this life, if you don't learn how to come up for air, you will drown.